Hey, welcome guys. Happy Friday. For anybody popping in who doesn't know me already, I don't believe that's the case yet. I'm Rachel, physical therapist and Pilates instructor here in Palo Alto, and welcome to Pilates Matwork. We're going to start seated on our mat with those legs crossed or directly in front of us, shins facing parallel to each other, facing that screen. Let's center ourselves on our bottom such that the weight is right in front of those sit bones, whether the feet are in front or whether they're crossed. We're going to take our arms down by our sides, rest those fingertips gently on your mat. Sitting here with that weight above the sit bones, we're going to get the sense that you're stacking your rib cage up over your pelvis, stacking your head right on top of those ribs, and picture a string at the crown of your head drawing you all the way up to the ceiling. With those fingertips resting on the floor, let's take a big breath in and a big breath out. Let's inhale again through the nose and exhale through the mouth, drawing that belly gently down toward our spine. Keep those sit bones pressed into the floor, and we're going to lift one arm up and overhead and take a tall side bend toward the opposite corner where your ceiling and your wall meet. Big breath in here, feel those ribs open up on the side you're moving away from. And then let's take it up tall back to our starting vertical position. Let's side bend the other way. Fingertips stay on the mat. We'll reach that opposite arm up and over toward that corner. Take a big breath in, feel those ribs open up. And exhale, stacking that body right up tall. Let's roll our shoulders back here for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Keeping the head, the trunk, and that pelvis lined up. Let's squeeze our shoulder blades back and relax them. Squeeze them back, bring them together toward the spine, release them again. Squeeze them back and hold them here. We're going to flip those palms so they face the room in front of us, opening up through that chest. Let's pulse our hands back toward the wall, squeezing the shoulders for 8, 7, 6. Get that chest a little warm up. Here's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring those arms up and overhead. Touch those fingertips together for a big breath in. As we exhale, we'll take our arms back down by our sides, and let's turn lengthwise on our mat. Again, lining our heels up with our sit bones. Shins are parallel to each other. We're going to make our way down to our backs. Let's get those forearms down first, and then we'll bring the upper body down, letting the back of that head rest against your mat. Let's walk those feet a little closer to our bottoms, lining up the heels with the midpoint of those glutes. We're going to rock through our pelvic clock positions here. We're going to picture a clock face on the pelvis and abdomen, 12 close to the breastbone, 6 toward the pubic bone, 3 and 9 on either side. Keeping the rest of the body as still as possible. Let's take that pubic bone, shorten it toward the breastbone, letting your back flatten into the floor. And then let's reverse that curve. Take that tailbone down toward the mat. Curl the pubic bone toward 12 o'clock. Reverse that curve for 6. Let's take it back and forth, 12 to 6. Keeping those shoulder blades pressed into the mat. One more time, 12 o'clock. Reverse it to 6 o'clock. Let's take that pelvis right back to neutral. And now let's picture where 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock would be on that clock face. And we'll rock the pelvis accordingly. Take it side to side, rocking to 3, rocking to 9. As one side of the pelvis draws down, that opposite side is going to rotate toward the ceiling. We'll alternate, pressing those feet into the floor enough that we can keep our thighs nice and still as we move our pelvis on stable legs. Let's take it side to side for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's bring them right back to neutral. Those hip bones are pointing like headlights directly up to the ceiling. And we're going to tighten the belly back down toward the spine as if you're tightening a little seatbelt of muscles between those two hip bones. Keeping that belly nice and drawn down, let's reach our arms up to the ceiling and then drop those blades down to the floor. Keep the belly active and drawn down. We're going to picture those shoulder blade borders, the outside borders of the shoulder blades pressing down into the mat, which will keep our collarbones nice and wide and away from each other. Let's reach our fingertips toward the ceiling, wrapping the shoulders around the front of the body, and let's lower those blades down to the mat. Rib cage arms, fingertips reach to the ceiling, shoulder blades wrap down to the mat. Take it up and down for 4, for 3, keep that chin nice and still, for 2, and for 1. Reach those blades up. Reach those shoulder blades down, keeping those blades anchored into the mat and that belly drawn down. Let's take our arms overhead to the point of that first barrier to movement. That might be a stretch underneath the arms.
That might be a little tightness or a little restriction at the top of the shoulders. It may be symmetrical or it may be different side by side. Find that first barrier and we're gonna hold it here. Let's take a few big breaths in and out, breathing into the end of that barrier. As you exhale, try to draw those blades down to the floor. We're gonna hold in there, feeling a little bit of tension in those muscles along the sides of the armpits. Let's gently rock our knees side to side. Keep those shoulder blades drawn down to the mat, pressed into the mat as we rock that pelvis, moving the lower half of the body away from the screen and toward the screen. Maybe those arms come back a little farther overhead if we can maintain that mid-back connection with the floor. Let's rock those legs side to side for 4, for 3, keep that belly drawn down. Here's 2. Last time, let's bring those knees back up to the ceiling, arc the arms out in front of us up to the ceiling. Let's take one knee up to 90 degrees and bring the other knee up to meet at the tabletop. We have 90 degrees at the knees, 90 degrees at the hips, and we're gonna take our hands and press them into the front of our thighs gently, building the pressure from hand to thigh and thigh to hand until you feel some muscles working from those ribs, those lowest ribs, all the way down to that pubic bone. Let's keep that pressure there, feeling that core activate as we bend and straighten our knees. Let's wiggle the knees, straightening the feet toward the ceiling and bending those knees, bringing the feet down toward the mat. Straighten and bend, keep that pressure through your hands. If you want to challenge your trunk a little bit more, we could nod the chin and lift that head up off the mat just slightly. Keep those shoulder blades anchor into the floor as we straighten and bend the knees for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Straighten those knees. Let's bend them back up to tabletop. Keep your head lifted or take it back down to the mat, maintaining that chin nod. And we're going to take our arms forward, reaching our fingertips toward the wall in front of us until we feel a slight tension through the muscles under those armpits. Leave them there. With that head lifted or lowered, we're going to pat our hands up and down, inhaling for 5 counts and exhaling for 5 counts. Time the breath so that your hands pat up and down for inhaling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale. 3, 4, 5. Keep that going. If you'd like to challenge it further, we could straighten those legs, bringing our feet toward the ceiling. We could open up those legs, extending them toward where the wall and ceiling meet in front of us. We could take a half step back by taking a foot down, bringing a kickstand down to keep those abdominals a little more supported. We could even simply take both feet down to the mat and continue to work those arms, challenging the stability of our trunk by moving those arms a little bit more quickly. Let's take 2 more deep breaths. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Last time, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Let's pause those hands, keep them reaching forward. We'll bring those knees back to 90 degrees, tabletop. Upper body comes down if it's been lifted, and let's pull that knee farthest from the screen in toward our chest as we draw the belly down a little further and press our opposite leg forward. Let's switch those legs. Pull the knee in, press the other leg toward the wall in front of you. Keep that moving at your own speed, keeping that trunk nice and still. Maybe we nod the chin and lift the head to add a little complexity to the movement. Keep those legs moving. Pull and press for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's keep that far knee pulled into the chest as we lower the opposite leg all the way down to the mat. And we can lower that upper body down if it's been lifted. Let's switch hands. We're going to take that hand closest to the screen, hold onto our bent knee. Opposite hand's going to press down into the mat. We're going to press the heels of the hand into the floor and use that force to gently let us rotate our body toward that screen. Give it a little rock. By pressing through the hands, we're activating the back side, that shoulder blade on the side that's down. And we're using our core on the side that's facing our screen. Rock it side to side for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's pull it back to the middle. Keep that belly drawn in, and we're going to switch our legs. Opposite knee pulls in. We hold onto it with our hands. Let's slide that leg that was just pulled in out straight along the mat. Hang on to that bent knee with your opposite hand. We'll take the hand closest to the screen, press it into the mat, and then use that heel of the hand to help drive that body toward the wall, away from the screen. Rock it side to side, pulling gently with your hand, and feeling those trunk muscles and that shoulder blade muscle on your weight bearing side working to help you support. Let's rock it for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's come right back to the middle. We're going to keep a hold of that knee closest to the screen. With the belly drawn down, maybe we nod and lift the head. We're going to lift that supported straight leg up off the mat and take it side to side, out to the wall, back into midline, out to the wall, back into midline. Feel the side of that hip on your moving leg work as we use our core to try to control that pelvis. We're keeping the trunk and pelvis nice and still. Bring that leg back to midline, switch it up. Opposite knee pulls in, press the other leg forward, hovering it up off the floor, and we'll take that second side. Reach that leg out toward your screen, back toward the wall in front, side to side. Keep it going for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that leg back to the center. We're going to lower the heel all the way down, bring that upper body down if it's been lifted, and we're going to take our hands down to the mat and bring that one bent leg up to tabletop. So we have one leg stretched out along the mat, press the back of the knee into the floor. Opposite leg is 90 degrees at the hip, 90 degrees at the knee. We're going to hold it right there. Keeping that thigh of the lifted leg vertical, we're going to straighten our knee, bringing that foot toward the ceiling. Straighten and bend. Find that barrier that we found in the beginning of class with that hand pressed into your thigh. Wiggle through it. We're going to pause at that first point of stretch or of resistance, and let's flex and point our foot. So we're doing an active hamstring stretch here on that leg that's lifted. If you tighten up the thigh of the opposite leg and press it into the floor, you may even get a hip flexor stretch on the opposite side to counteract. Let's press those toes to the ceiling on the lifted leg, and we're going to take that lifted leg side to side, moving from that upper thigh. We're drawing that leg out away from our screen and then back toward the screen. Keep the bones in the back of the pelvis nice and anchored into that mat. And we can challenge it differently by moving through some circles. Draw those circles on the ceiling as if you're stirring that thigh in its socket. Challenging it further, we could lift that supporting leg up off the mat. Let's reverse that circle. Go the other way. Reach those toes to the ceiling. Here's 3. 2 more here. And 1. Let's draw that hovered leg to the floor. We'll bring our other knee back to tabletop. Keeping the belly drawn down, we're going to switch. We're going to bring the other knee to meet it in tabletop. Keep that 90-90 angle at the knee and the hip. We'll take that leg we just stretched and slide it out along the mat, tightening up the front of that thigh, letting the back of that knee press into the floor. Keeping that other thigh vertical, we're going to straighten and bend. Again, finding that barrier to movement, that little stretch, that little bit of resistance through the back of that thigh. And then we'll pause at that resistance point and let's flex and point our other foot. Wiggle through that hamstring, give that calf a little chance to loosen up and lengthen as the front of the thigh does the work. Let's point those toes to the ceiling, hold them there, and keeping the pelvis nice and still, we'll take that newly lifted leg and move it side to side. Draw it out, reaching those toes to the ceiling, and then draw that leg back to the middle. Good, one more time to each. Let's make some circles. Circle the ceiling, reaching out of those toes, reaching all the way to your light fixtures. Maybe we hover our supporting foot up slightly. Let's circle the other way. Reach those toes up for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that hovered leg and press it into the floor. We'll hold on behind that thigh. Let's keep a hold of that thigh, and whether you need to bend your knee or if you can keep it straight, it's up to you. We're going to roll those shoulders back in circles. That should give you a little more stretch through that hamstring on the side we're working. Hold it there. Keep a little stretch in that thigh. And we're going to draw the belly down, switch the legs. Take the opposite leg up, hang on behind that second thigh. We'll float our other leg back down to the floor and complete some more shoulder circles. Rolling the blades back and down, using that force to gently pull that leg a little closer to your trunk for a bit more of a stretch through the back of that thigh. Let's anchor those blades down. We'll keep the belly down. We're going to bring our opposite leg up to meet that lifted leg, making an L with our body. The trunk is on the mat. Legs are as straight as we can get them toward the ceiling. Keep in mind if your hamstrings are limited, the knees will be bent, and that's perfectly fine. We're going to hold them there. Let's press those shoulder blades down into the mat, widen those collarbones away from the breastbone, and let's open those legs into a narrow V. Let's zip them back together. Open them up to a slightly wider V. Zip them together. Open them out to the widest V you can get. That barrier will be right through those inner thighs, and we'll slip those legs together. Let's try that again. Open and shut. Open to the V, shut them together. One more time. Open, Bring those feet together. Now we're going to take one foot a little farther away from the other. So we're making a little straight line. One foot's close to the body. The other foot is reaching forward toward the ceiling. And we're going to switch them up. Pull the other foot towards your body as the other leg stretches forward. Keep it moving, almost like we're walking. Little mini separations. Keep that going. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll pause with the feet staggered, and we're going to helicopter those legs. The legs come out to the side, and then we make a semicircle and switch the position. Take them out, helicopter to the center. Keep alternating them here. Maybe we float those arms to the ceiling as we keep those legs moving. We're keeping that belly drawn down. If your knees are bent, it's the same motion. We're leading with the knees and the feet if those legs are bent. We're going to keep that motion going for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's bring those legs to the ceiling. Keep those arms where they are. We're going to bend our knees to tabletop, flex our feet, and let's turn those toes and knees away from each other. So those feet are going to make a V, and those thighs are going to make a V. Those hips are turned out just slightly. We're holding in our frog position. This is our starting position here with those knees up. If you dropped a leg straight down, it would be vertical to the floor. We're going to pull our heels toward our bottom and then press to that starting position. Pull the heels to the bottom, slightly straighten the knees, pressing the feet toward our starting position. Pull and press through our little mini frog for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's turn those knees toward each other, point the toes, take those arms down. We're going to bring our feet down to the mat and give those abdominals a break. We're going to take those knees and gently rock them side to side, taking a few deep breaths while we're here. Big breath in, big breath out. One more time, side to side, big breath in. Exhale. Let's take those knees right back up toward the ceiling. We'll draw the belly down, make our way back up into tabletop, and let's take our arms up and drop our blades to the floor. One arm comes back overhead. Let's take that arm farthest from the screen, back behind you, and stretch our opposite leg forward toward the wall in front. Take them through the center and reach through our nice long diagonals. Let's keep that pattern going. Reaching your outstretched leg as far away from your hand as you possibly can. Let's take them side to side. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring those arms to the ceiling, knees to tabletop. Let's take our feet down to the floor. We're going to arc our arms down in front of us and then press our palms to the floor. Let's nod that chin gently toward the neck. Scoot your feet a little closer to those sit bones. And we're going to prepare for bridging with a big breath in and a big breath out, drawing that belly towards your spine. Drive those heels through the floor, lifting those glutes toward the ceiling. Find that barrier to movement through the front of the thighs where you feel a stretch or a lengthening or just simply a stopping where those hips won't go any higher. Keep that length through the thighs, reaching your kneecaps toward the wall in front of us. And let's lower those glutes down to the mat. Let's take ourselves up and down through that bridge, driving through the heels. If you feel like you're cramping or overusing your hamstrings, lift those toes up off the floor a bit. We could be pressing directly through the heels. We could also have the foot flat, but focus that pressure through the heels as we drive up and down. Last 2. Last 1. Hold that bridge at the top. Then we're going to rotate that pelvis. The hip closest to the screen is going to lower toward the mat while the other stays lifted. Inhale up to the top. Exhale, switch. Inhale, lift. Exhale, switch. Let's take it side to side for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's press that pelvis to the ceiling, breathing in. Exhale, lowering that bottom down toward the floor. Release those glutes once that tailbone touches the mat. And we can rock those knees side to side. Let's take a big breath in and a big breath out. Let's reach those knees back up to the ceiling. Big breath in. On that exhale, let's press those hips to the ceiling, holding our bridge. Reach those glutes up. Let's keep them in the same spot as we lift our heels, lower our heels. Lift the heels and lower. Keep that pattern going, lifting and lowering for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Press those heels into the floor. We're going to finish our bridging time with some marches. One leg comes up toward the ceiling and back down. Other leg comes up, float it back down. Keep this moving again at your own pace. Our goal is to keep that pelvis nice and still. driving through those heels to keep it out of those hamstrings. If you need an intermediate and you still want to alternate those legs, you could go up and down on one toe, up and down on the other. We can switch it side to side that way for a little more support for those legs. We have 2 more marches, whichever you've chosen. Last one. Let's press those feet through the floor, breathing in and exhaling. Let's take that body back down to the mat. Release those glutes once that tailbone's on the floor. And let's rock through pelvic clock. Let's take that pelvis to 12 o'clock and lengthen it to 6. Curl it to 12. Lengthen to 6. Take it back to the middle and let's take it side to side. Rocking through that pelvis. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it right back to neutral. We're going to cross that leg farthest from your screen, bringing the heel to the opposite knee. Draw that cross leg knee over to the side. We can pull that other leg into our chest for a bit of a lifted figure 4 stretch. And let's rock that body side to side. Take a big breath. Exhaling, let's come back to the middle. We'll switch up those legs. Cross the opposite ankle to your knee. Draw that cross leg knee out to the side. Lift up into figure 4 if you have the motion for it. And again, we'll rock side to side. Feeling that stretch intensify and then back off. One big breath. Exhale back to the center. Let's take our feet back down to the mat. And let's take our arms back up to the ceiling. As our fingertips reach up, we're going to think about dropping those shoulder blades down to the floor. Let's draw that chin down toward the neck. Drop your breastbone down. Feel your mid-back contact in the mat as those lowest ribs draw down as well. Draw the belly down a little closer to your spine. Let's hold those positions. We're going to take up any slack that we have in the front of the body by taking those arms back overhead. If you feel like you're starting to fight your mid-back, drop that mid-back down and maybe lift those arms a little closer up to the ceiling. Hold there for a breath. See if we can ease those tissues into that new stretch position. And then maybe we take those hands back a little closer to the floor behind us. Hold them there. Keep that belly down. You should feel those muscles working through the abdominals. Maybe we inch our feet out straight or just a little straighter from where they are now. Maybe one leg goes all the way straight and press that knee into the floor. If you can maintain that curve in your back, that same curve that you have now, and straighten your other leg out, go ahead and do so. If it's really too much to keep that breastbone down, you're welcome to bend up one or both of your knees again. Holding here, we're going to keep our hands right where they are, and we're again going to rotate our shoulder blades toward the ceiling and draw those shoulder blades to the floor. Reach the blades to the ceiling, lower them to the mat. 2 more here, lift and lower. Last ones, reach them up, lower them down. We're going to hold those blades down, keep those hands right where they are, and keeping that pelvis nice and level and square to the ceiling, we're going to lift one leg up and down, and then take the other one up and down. Let's alternate. If your feet are on the floor and the knees are bent, this is going to look and feel like a march. Same idea. As one foot comes up, the other foot presses into the floor to keep you stable. We'll alternate here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take a big breath in with those arms overhead. Exhaling, let's arc those arms to the ceiling, bending up our knees, and we can place those hands down on the mat. Let's turn over to hands and knees. If you have something to put under your kneecaps that you want to grab now, you're welcome to do so. You can also fold that mat over to give yourself a little more padding if you prefer. Once we're on hands and knees, we're going to line up our wrists and shoulders, line up our knees and our hips, and the back of the head, the middle back, and that sacrum are going to be as close to lined up as we can get them. Let's move through a few cats and cows, settle that pelvis into our new position. Draw your belly to the ceiling, curling, look toward those thighs, and then reverse that curve, keeping a little tension through those abdominals. Curl to cat, reverse to cow. 2 more times here. Curl it up, reverse and lengthen. Last time, curl it up, reverse and lengthen. Let's come right back to neutral and wag that tail side to side. Take the hips to the shoulders. Let's take ourselves right back to neutral, keeping that belly drawn in and those elbows as straight as you can. Let's squeeze our blades together and press the blades forward. Squeeze them together, press them forward. Keep that going for 4, press for 3, for 2, And for one, let's switch it up to single arm. We're gonna keep those trunks squared to the floor. If you can, we'll take one hand up to your thigh. And again, we'll press through those shoulder blades. Squeeze and press for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Opposite side. Take that other hand down. Hand we just worked is gonna come right to our thighs. We'll square out those shoulder blades and squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. Last 2. Last 1. Let's take those hands back to the mat and let's shift our body weight away from the screen and toward the screen. Push through the floor with your hands and your knees, shifting that weight side to side. Let's take ourselves right back to the middle. We're going to straighten one leg behind the body and stretch the opposite arm out in front. Make a nice long diagonal. Switch to the other side. Reach. Switch and reach. Switch and reach. Let's hold. If this is a challenging enough position for you, hold it right here. Otherwise, we're going to see if we can take that hand down and switch the arm. We're going to hold here for a deep breath, whether we're moving the same side arm and leg or opposites. Big breath in. Exhale. Let's take that hand down and our knee down. We'll shift the weight to the other side. Reach that opposite leg back behind. If you're having issues with same side lifts, we can take our opposite side arm up first, reach toward the wall. We can shift our weight and switch those hands. Whether you're switching or holding, we're gonna hold here for a big breath in and a big breath out. Let's take that hand down. Let's take that knee down, and we'll rock through a couple more cats and cows, curling and reversing. One more time, curl it up. Reverse that curve. Let's take ourselves right back to neutral again. We're going to shift away from our screen. And this time, instead of lifting the leg back behind the body, we're going to keep that knee bent and we're just going to unweight it slightly from the floor. Lift it up so that knee is about 1 inch off the mat. You could run your fingers under it. We're going to hold that lift and we're going to take that knee out to the side and back in line with our body. A little fire hydrant maneuver. Out and in. Out and in. One more time. Let's take that knee down. We're going to press that knee into the floor. Unweight the other side. Again, holding the rest of the body still. That unweighted side is going to come out and then back to the center. Open to the side. Take it back to the center. 2 more here. Out to the side. Back to the center. Last one. Take it out. Take it back to the center. We're going to back to all fours. Shake out those wrists if you need to. You can welcome to move back into a child's pose if that feels better. We'll make our way back up to all fours. We're going to hold the belly to the spine. We're going to shift away from our screen and unweight that bent knee. We're going to draw from that knee, moving over our hip joint, and we're going to make some circles. Draw some circles. It's going to be almost an oblique circle that you're drawing. As the knees come close to the mat, your knee will be in by your side. As we draw that circle, that leg is going to come up almost diagonally. Let's reverse it. Take it the other way. Lift it up. Draw that circle as we bring the knee back into the side. 2 more here. Stir that leg into the socket. Let's take that knee back to the floor. We'll shift toward our screen. Again, unweight that opposite bent knee and let's circle it. Try to keep that trunk facing the floor. That's the big trick with this circle, is to keep that pelvis nice and stable. You could balance something on it. Let's circle it the other way. Reverse. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take them back down. We're going to bring our feet together and our knees apart. Take the bottom back toward the heels, and let's walk our hands toward the front of our mat. Maybe lowering that forehead to the mat and drawing that belly in toward the spine. Drop your armpits one at a time toward the mat. Get a little bit of opening through that connective tissue that runs all the way from that armpit down towards your hip. Big breath in. On that exhale, we're going to take our forearms to the floor, shift the body weight over those forearms, and we'll keep that bottom lifted up. Belly's going to stay drawn in. Let's straighten out that leg closest to the screen. Squeeze those glutes, lift that leg up and down. Keep the knees straight here. Lift and lower. Lift and hold. Keep that thigh still, bend and straighten your knee. Heel comes in, heel straightens out. Good. Feel your hamstring work. Feel that glute work to hold your leg up in the air. Keep that leg bent. We'll pulse it to the ceiling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's float that knee back down. Opposite leg stretches out behind you. Keep that belly drawn in and we'll lift and lower that straight leg. Hold it up there, bend and straighten the knee, keeping that thigh nice and still. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Keep it at bend and we'll pulse to the ceiling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take that knee down. Let's press that bottom back toward the heels. Walk those hands forward for a big breath in. Exhaling, let's walk our hands toward that screen, opening up through the other side of the rib. Let's walk the hands the other way. Open up to the side that's closest to your screen. Walk those hands back to the middle. 1 more breath here. On that exhale, we're going to come up into a long sitting position. We're going to sit lengthwise on our mat with our trunks up as vertically oriented as we can get them. And the goal is, just like in the beginning of class, to get our weight right up over the front of our sit bones. And from here, we're going to line up our heels with that bottom and hold on behind those thighs like you're holding a nice round beach ball. Keeping the belly in, let's rock back to our heels. That'll angle us a little bit diagonally backwards. Should let you tap into your abdominal muscles. Hold it here. Keeping those shoulders back and down. Let's see if we can go up onto our toes. Cool. Let's alternate. We'll straighten and bend one knee, straighten and bend the other, and let's keep that going. Maybe we challenge it further by taking those arms in front of us. Maybe we challenge it one more time, a little further, by lifting those arms up till they're parallel to the thighs. Walk it out here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring our feet flat to the floor. We're going to take our hands to the outsides of our thighs. Let's press those hands and thighs toward each other. You'll feel a little activation in those glutes. It will take a little bit of tension off of your abdominals. We're going to open up that arm closest to the screen. Take it out to the side. Bring it back to your leg. Opposite arm opens. Take it back to the leg. Let's open and close for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take those hands back to your shins. We're going to pull ourselves up nice and vertical and roll those shoulders back and down for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's keep those feet right where they are. We'll take our hands back to the mat behind us. Decide if your wrists feel okay. If you feel compression here in the front of your wrists, turn those palms out to the side just slightly. Find your preferred position. We're going to straighten those elbows as best we can and send our breastbones toward the wall in front of us first, squeezing those shoulder blades together. If you have a little slack left to take out of the system, we can inch those glutes forward just a touch. You'll feel more stretch through the forearm, more stretch through those biceps most likely, maybe a little more stretch through that chest. Keep that belly drawn back, and let's set our breastbone up toward the ceiling now. Feel that chest open up. We can hold here if this feels like a good stretch to you. If you want to take it further, we inch our feet a little closer to the bottoms, and we can rise up into a reverse tabletop position. Regardless of whether you're lifted or lowered, we're going to take 2 deep breaths, finishing our time in this position. Inhale, breathe it out. One more time, big breath in. On that exhale, draw the belly in a little further. We're going to make our way to our seat. Sit up, shake those wrists out, and let's face our screen. You can sit however is comfortable for you, feet in front or legs crossed. Shake out those wrists, maybe clasp those fingers together, roll them out a little bit. We'll take our hands down by our sides. Let's roll those shoulders back and down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let's make our way up to kneeling. We're going to come up nice and tall with those arms by our sides. We're going to picture that string at the crown of the head drawing us up to the ceiling, keeping those ribs lifted off of that pelvis. From here, let's lean back, feel those thighs start to work a bit, and we'll take ourselves up tall. Lean it back. Take it up tall. 2 more here. Lean it back. Bring it up. Last time. Lean it back. Take it up tall. Hands come right to the hips. Let's extend one leg out to the side. Drop that hip on the side of your straight leg, feeling that inner thigh stretch. And from here, we're going to hinge forward and take ourselves back upright. Hinge it forward. Take it up. One more here. Hinge it forward. Take it up. Let's bring those arms out to the side for another breath in. And as we exhale, let's take a side bend. We can reach. We can lift that foot up. Take it up and over.
Side bend and reach. Take it up and over. Side bend, and for our final reach, we can take that arm up and over. Maybe that foot lifts and we pulse it up and down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring ourselves up and over to the other side. Coming up vertical again. Let's bring that knee in and we'll switch it up. Opposite leg stretches out. Find that inner thigh. Release point, hands at the hips, and let's hinge. Take that crown of the head forward and come up nice and tall. Squeeze through those glutes. Use that glute on the bent knee side to help control your motion and to help you propel yourself back up to the ceiling. Good. Let's take ourselves up tall. Arms come out to the side. Big breath in. And exhale, side bend, reach. And take those arms up and over. Side bend and reach toward that bent knee. Take it up and over. One last time. Side bend and reach. Reach toward that corner. Lift that leg, and we're going to pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come up nice and tall. We'll do one final side bend toward that straight leg. Let's bring that trunk up vertical. We'll come back to our knees. Roll those shoulders back, and let's flip our palms to face the front of the room. Keep those shoulder blades squeezed and lined up with each other. We'll pulse those pinkies together for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in with those blades squeezed. As we exhale, take those arms down, and we're going to make our way all the way down to our sides. Pick a side. Knees are going to be bent. We'll line our heels up with our sit bones, and let's lift up that waistline from the mat. We're going to keep our hand right at the belly, ensure that that trunk is facing forward, and let's take our top knee only, raise it and lower. Lift and lower. 2 more here. Lift and lower. This time our knees are going to stay together. We're going to take our top foot up and take our top foot down. Keep the rest of the body nice and still. We're just moving through that top hip joint. 2 more times. Lift and hold. Now we're going to take our bottom leg up and down. Lift that foot, lower it down. Lift and lower. Last 2. Last 1, hold the feet there. Top knee comes up and down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Last 2. Last 1. Take those knees and feet down. Top hand presses into the mat. Both knees lift up and down together. 4. Lift for 3. Last 2. Last 1. Knees stay down. Bottom leg presses into the floor. Lift that top leg up. Fire hydrant lift. The whole leg comes up. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Let's take that knee down to hip height, and we'll hinge it. Knee to the shoulder. Press the knee back. Swing it forward. Press it back. Last 2. Last 1. Press it back. Let's straighten our top leg, and then we'll straighten out the bottom leg. Top leg comes up and down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Last 2. Last 1. Lift it to hip height. Bring that bottom leg up to meet it. We'll take them both down and up together for 8. Good. Keep that waistline lifted. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take them down. Bend up those knees. Pat out that hip. Let's take that top arm forward toward our screen before we move to our other side. We're going to take that arm up to the ceiling. Open it back toward the wall behind you, taking that top shoulder blade toward the floor. Inhale that arm to the ceiling. Exhale it forward. Let's press ourselves into that mat. We'll come up and over to our other side. And again, we'll rest down on that bottom arm. Knees are bent in front. Heels are lined up with the bottom. Lift up that waistline. We'll take that hand to our belly. And let's lift and lower that top leg for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Knees stay down. Top foot comes up and down. Lift and lower. Last 2. Hold it up there. Last 1. Bottom knee comes up and down. 3, 2. Hold it up there. Top knee comes up and down for 4. Keep those feet lifted. 2 and 1. Let's take those knees and feet down. Top hand presses into the floor. We'll lift both knees together for 4, 3. Keep that trunk facing forward. Here's 2.
And one, knees come down, top leg comes up, and top leg comes down. Fire hydrant lifts. Take that shin up and down together. Last one. Let's take it down to hip height. Swing it forward. Swing that bent leg back, lining up with your body. Swing it forward. Swing it back. Last two. Last one. Swing it back. Let's straighten our top leg out. We'll straighten our bottom leg out as well. Top leg comes up. Top leg comes down. Keep that waistline lifted. Lower the leg. Last two. Last one. Lift that foot up. We'll take our bottom leg up to meet it. Both sides come down and up together for 8. Keep that waistline lifted. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take them down. Bend those knees up. Pat that hip out. Great work. And we'll move into our open book stretch before turning to our backs. Reach that top arm toward the screen. We'll take it up to the ceiling. Big breath in. On the exhale, open that shoulder blade to the floor, reaching that hand back behind you. Inhale, arm comes up to the ceiling. Let's exhale it forward. Take a breath here, and let's turn onto our backs. We're going to bend up our knees, aligning those heels up with our hips. And let's take a second here just to inhale and exhale. Maybe taking those knees side to side through a range that's comfortable for you. Bring those knees back to the center. We're going to cross one leg over the other. Hold it there. We could lift up into that figure 4 stretch, pulling that knee into the chest. Rock away from your screen just slightly. See if that gives you a little bit more gentle stretch through that hip rotator, the outside of that hip. Let's bring those feet down, switch it up. Opposite ankle crosses to your knee. Draw the knee out. And we can lift that opposite leg up toward the chest and rock that body toward the screen. Feel that buttock loosen up on the other side. Take a big breath. Exhale. Let's bring those feet down. We're going to take both feet down to the floor. Let's turn toward our screen. We'll roll to hands and knees. Finishing our time on the mat with another set of cats and cows. Curl it up. Reverse that curve. Curl it up one more time. Reverse that curve. Let's come right back to the middle. We're going to turn our toes under. Walk the hands back toward the knees, and we'll press our body weight up over those feet. Once your weight is lined up over the front of those ankles, we can stand up nice and tall. All right, we will finish class with a little bit of balancing. If you have something that you'd like to hold on to, a countertop, a chair, a wall, whatever's available, go ahead and grab it. If you need to get yourself out of sight, but you can still hear me, that's fine. I won't be offended. We're going to line up our feet with our hips. Hold it there. Let's shift our weight gently toward our toes and toward our heels, maybe taking our hands to the midsection. Feel how those muscles change in respect to where your body weight's oriented. If you're toward the very front of your toes or toward the very back of your heels, you might feel those muscles kick in a little bit more to stabilize you. Let's take our weight right back to the middle, and we're going to stand heel to toe. We'll take one foot in front of the other. Take those hands down by your sides. Hold them there. You can hold on to something for balance. If you want to make this more challenging, we could look side to side. We could even close our eyes. Your choice. Let's take those feet step apart, and we'll lead with the other foot now. Let's take that other foot up in front. Press your toes into the floor. Find that balance point. We could add that head turn for a bigger challenge. Looking back to the center, we could close our eyes for a bigger challenge. Feel what those feet are doing to make those little adjustments to keep you upright. Let's bring those feet apart. We're going to shift to our other foot. Line up your weight over the front of that ankle joint, and we can rise up into our single leg balance. Let's hold it here. We're just going to hold. Maybe we wiggle our knees a little bit, bend and straighten just a tiny bit. Maybe we take that lifted leg out to the side, move it around a little, see how it feels if you swing it back and forth. Feel those little adjustments as that opposite leg moves. Let's find our balance for 3, for 2, for 1. Switch legs. Let's bring that other one up. Find your balance point over the front of that ankle joint. Hold. And again, maybe we take that leg out to the side, lift it up and down. Swing it forward, swing it back. Make some semicircles. Feel those little adjustments you make all the way up the chain, all the way from those toes up to those glutes to hold yourself still. Coming back to that single leg balance, take a big breath in. As we exhale, let's take those feet down, shake those legs out. Nice job. We'll close with those feet a little bit apart from each other. Let's roll our shoulders back for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take those arms all the way up and overhead. Stretch those palms to the ceiling as the blades draw down. Let's take a side bend over to one corner of the room. Inhale up top and side bend the other way. With the big breath in, we'll bring our arms to the ceiling. Let's take our feet together and our hands by our sides. Let's bring those arms all the way up to the ceiling. Reach those fingertips up. Inhale. We'll close with those hands in toward our center. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me.